Welcome to this module related to the risk assessment steps. So, in previous module, we had a discussion about the various tools available for risk assessment. We have gone through the different steps to determine the risk or analyze the risk assessment. So, while discussing these various steps available for risk assessment or risk management tool, we had completed the step number 1 in the previous module. So, in this particular module, we are going to discuss the other steps involved in the risk assessment oblique risk management. So, this is again the starting of this, how we had identified the hazard. Now, let us take the second step, that we need to identify who might be harmed in case of any eventuality, in case of any accident. So, first thing that we must analyze the scenario and then decide who might be harmed and how, because unless otherwise we do not have any clue that how they may get harmed, then we will not be able to devise the proper safety devices and we can't analyze the risk assessment. So, do not forget, the young persons, trainees or new expected mothers, cleaners, sometimes the casual visitor to the plant, various contractors, those who are involved within the periphery of the plant, the maintenance worker, members of the public, people who share your workplace, they may be harmed in case of any eventuality, in case of any accident that might occur in the plant periphery. Remember, we have not included those who are living outside or those who are having their residences or a workplace at the vicinity of the plant. So, in the broader spectrum, we may enlist all those employees, visitors, contractor, general public, children, people who share the workplace. They must be people specific. Now, do not forget the vulnerable group, such as people with the disability, pregnant staff, those with the little experience or training. So, you must analyze and you must enlist those who might be at the risk. Then once you analyze this aspect, that those who are involved, those who may involved in that particular risk, then you evaluate the risk. That is, what is the quantum of the risk. So, whenever you are evaluating the risk, you determine the dose, threshold, etc. So, while you are analyzing the dose threshold, then definitely you must look into the other aspect of dose response, what are the different threshold limit values, etc. Then you go for ALARP, then you analyze that what is the exposure assessment, decide how likely it is to cause harm. Sometimes it may be at the regular frequency, maybe gradual release, and sometimes within the acceptable limits, etc. Then you determine that what are the different methodologies available for risk control, because there may be several other risk control methodologies or protocols available within the plant. Then decide on the suitable measures, that which one you need to adopt, which one you need to apply in case of any risk. You need to follow the various precautions, or even with the precaution, you need to analyze that is there any remaining high risk things, or sometimes it may be medium or it may be low. So, you must analyze all those things while evaluating the risk. Now, based on your analysis, you just identify that what are the different hazard and hazardous situation, they are systematically present at your workplace. That means sometimes it may happen that because of a variety of reasons, the temperature of a vessel may go on the higher side. It may lead to the pressure built up. Once the pressure is built up, then it may be a chance that the safety valve or the relief valve may be actuated. Then the substance may get released into the atmosphere, or nearby people may get affected. Nearby means within the plant and outside the plant. So you just analyze the systematically approach of those hazard or hazardous situation that may happen in that particular plant. Then you analyze the level of risk associated with each hazard, that is the situation. You need to estimate, you need to quantify that particular risk or hazard. Reason is that on the basis of this particular hazard, you can analyze and you can adopt the applicable protocol. Now, usually you need to perform a judgment, or a judgment is to be made as to whether the level of risk is acceptable or tolerable. Now, remember, there is a threshold limit values or LD values, etc., just to guide you whether this particular risk is acceptable or not, because based on various kind of dose, various kind of responses, these type of limits being prescribed by various regulatory bodies, which we had a discussion in the previous module. So based on your evaluation, you just analyze whether this is under the acceptable range or tolerable range. Now, if it is beyond, then you need to go ahead with the proper protocols. Now, this includes a judgment on corrective or preventive measures, because whether if they are acceptable, then definitely you need to take up a preventive measures or a corrective measures, so that they cannot expose to or they cannot go beyond the tolerable limit. So, a prior estimation, a prior corrective measures or prior preventive measures are always advisable for these kind of approaches. The likelihood that a specified undesired event will occur due to the realization of a hazard by or during work activities or by the products or services created by the work activities. This is the assessing of the risk. Now, let us have a look about the quantitative risk assessment. These are commonly used in the high technology industries. Now, this quantitative risk assessment tends to deal with the avoidance of low probability events with the serious consequences to the plant and surrounding of the environment. So, that's why they are very important. Now, this involves the making a formal judgment on the consequences and the probability using the formula risk is equal to severity into likelihood. Likelihood deals with the probability. So, this simple computation gives a risk value between 1 to 9 or 1 and 9, enabling a rough and a ready comparison of the risk. So, the lower the number, the greater the risk, and also the prioritizes the hazard, so that the control action can be targeted at higher risk. It is just like that you are having an H2SO4, concentrated H2SO4, it might spill or may not. So, what is the severity? Then you need to analyze, and if this is within your range, then you need to adopt a control action. Another example is that the likely to affect the hazard may for example for a rated like major death or major injury or illness causing long term disability, maybe the injuries or illness causing short term disability. There may be slight aspect like all other injuries or illness. Remember, every injuries or every illness or every fatality, they must be recorded and they may be liable for the compensation. Now, the likelihood of harm may be rated as that high, that is where it is certain that harm will occur, like a spillover of H2SO4, leak of LPG, etc. Then the medium, where the harm will often occur, and the low, where harm will seldom occur. So, sometimes there is, you cannot avoid, sometimes the situation may happen then where you cannot avoid the release of any kind of a toxic or any kind of a vapor. Then you may term, if it is within the acceptable limit, then you may term under the head of either medium or a low one. Now, all things required in law done, that is a big question. Don't stop there. Is the remaining risk small? If not, then how to make it small? These kind of questions must be asked by you. Now think about other possible occurrence, moving sources within the site, new staff, those who may not be technically competent, risk of other lost sources. Sometimes you may have certain other things, those who are lost during the course of use, and all of a sudden that may create a problem. Certain human factors, because several accident in past they took happen just because of the human negligence. So human factor may also play a vital role. Then go for the completion of the risk assessment. So organizing action and responsibilities to reduce the hazard and risk to acceptable level. This is called the completion of the risk assessment. Now how you can achieve? By the elimination of hazard. Do I have to do this? This type of question must be framed and asked. Then go for the substitution, right, materials, equipment, etc. You must adopt the protocol related to the physical safeguard of machinery, guarding, extraction, etc. Sometimes you may experience, if you go to an industry, that all kind of pulleys, they are guarded by the covers, etc. These are called the physical safeguards. You must go for the personal protective equipments like headgears, goggles, gloves, splash suits, etc. You must adopt and devise the safe working protocols. This is extremely essential. It is not necessary that you always follow the ball by ball guiding factor laid down by the different regulatory agencies. Sometimes you need to adopt, you need to develop your own safe working protocols based on your requirements. Sometimes it may be more stringent than the regulation. So the safe working procedure must be adopted, or any combination. You may go ahead with any combination of whatever protocols listed just above. Now based on various discussions, you may evaluate the risk based on the various industry standards, because similar type of industries may be there in global scenario. So what is the industry standard? What are the legal requirements, both global and national? So you must be aware of those requirements and you must adopt those protocols within your industry. Then precautions already taken, because some precautions may be inherently be taken by the either employee or employer, etc. Don't forget, go for the cost estimation, because whenever you are adopting those kind of risk protocols, then definitely you are employing certain amount of money towards this. Then you must know about the different working condition. For example, the weather. Weather may be critical. Sometimes in the northern belt of India, you may experience the temperature, atmospheric temperature ranges from 2 degrees Celsius to 47 degrees Celsius. So don't overlook the impact of that particular weather. May be humid, may be higher temperature, may be fluctuating temperature due to either the material or the process machinery, etc. Because this type of impact this type of changeover may impact to the storage condition of your industry, may impact to the handling condition of your industry. Then you must analyze that how many persons or how many people they are at risk. Analyze for the severity of injury. Go ahead with the probability calculation so that you can analyze that how much risk is there in your plant or equipment or layout plan, etc. Then don't forget to analyze or record the length of exposure or a frequency, sometimes intermittent frequency, and we had a discussion about this in totality in industrial hygiene module when we discussed about the length of exposure, sometimes intermittent frequency, sometimes the continuous aspect. So don't forget all these steps while evaluating the risk. Then go for this ALARP, that is the legislation required employers to reduce risk to a level that is as low as is reasonable practicable. Sometimes it is always referred as ALARP. Now to carry out a duty so far as is a reasonably practicable manner, that the degree of risk in a particular activity or environment can be balanced against the time, trouble, cost and physical difficulty of taking measure to avoid the risk. So you can go ahead with this ALARP. Then question arises how to control the risk. One aspect is that risk avoidance. This involves the regular decision on the part of organization to avoid completely a particular risk by discontinuing the operation producing the risk. That means you are having either you are having the substitution or you are in a position to compromise with the certain aspect. One example is that the replacing the hazardous chemical by one with the less or no risk potential. Sometimes you need to perform certain optimization, because if you are using the less hazardous chemicals, that means sometimes you are compromising with the yield, sometimes you may compromising with the conversion, reaction kinetics, etc. So you need to optimize, you need to calculate that whether if you are having the lower yield, then how much economic losses are there. And sometimes if you are using the higher hazardous chemicals with a proper protocol, proper safety protocol, sometimes you may save certain quantum of money. So you need to go for this optimization. Then the risk retention. Now the risk is retained in the organization where any consequent loss is financed by the company. Now there are two aspects to consider. One is the risk retention with knowledge, and second is the risk retention without knowledge. Another aspect is that risk transfer. This refers to the legal assignment of the cost of certain potential losses from one party to another, that is insurance. Now remember, insurance, again when you are going ahead with the insurance, then again they are having certain set of rules. So if by any chance there is any violation of those rules, so sometimes the insurance company, they may refuse to pay off the compensation. So be particular about this particular risk transfer protocol. Then the risk reduction. The risks are systematically reduced through control measures according to the hierarchy of risk control. So we have gone through all this risk reduction aspect in the industrial hygiene segment. So by substitution, by other change protocols, we can reduce the risk at workplace. Now since we had a discussion about the hierarchy, so let us have a look at hierarchy of risk control measures. You may eliminate or substitute the hazardous substance, that is again subjected to the chemical kinetics or yield or conversion, etc. Then you may go ahead with the different type of engineering controls. Since these two things are supplemented, then you must to implement all these things, you must have administrative measures. Apart from these administrative measures, you must have administrative willingness to adopt all these type of protocols. You may have personal protective equipments or gears, etc. You may put various type of play card at the workplace, like warning, lead work area, sometimes fire and hazards, etc. So if you go to all those aspects, you may designate the hierarchy in terms of that, like these are the most preferred one and these are the least preferred one. The reason is that the personal protective equipment should be used as a last resort, like the display of warning play cards, it is the last resort, because you are unable to eliminate, you are unable to substitute the things, and you are unable to manage those things through your engineering control practices. Now in this particular slide, we have enlisted various kind of control measures like elimination, substitution, engineering, administrative. So a broad spectrum or a broad example you can learn from this particular table, like sub out task of suitable party, that is the elimination. Then substitution, replace the noisy with conditions with the quiet conditions. You may install a fixed guard, auto guard, cover limit switch, etc. And administrative protocol says that you must have a proper staff selection for a job. Similarly, you can develop, like in the personal protective equipments like helmet, hair net, etc., cover, splash suits, etc., glasses, goggles, etc., earplug, muffs, sound attenuators, etc. So these are the certain personal protective equipments. Now, how to use those PPEs again is a question, and those control measures and personal protective equipments, they need to be properly educated. Managerial aspect, they must ensure that through enforcement that everybody should use all kind of this protocol. Then the managerial aspect or administratively protocols suggest that they must encourage to use all kind of these things with the help of quiz, context, different type of signages, posters, etc. Then based on the safety reviews and based on the past practice, how your system is prepared for emergency, then you must train all those workers for this type of things like first aid box, first aid rooms, firefightings, etc. So you, in the broad spectrum, you can design, you can learn from these type of tables. Now another step is that you record your findings. Record keeping is extremely essential while calculating the risk assessment. The important elements are the description of area or a task hazard that personnel may be exposed to. So you must record all those area, categorize those areas. Details of the personnel who may be exposed to the hazards. Obviously, those persons who are working in that particular arena may be exposed to that particular hazard. You must record or details with which hazards are significant and those which are acceptable and why. Now remember, whenever you are discussing this, don't forget to refer the protocols as laid down by the various regulatory bodies. Then the precautions in place are to be put in place or reduce the significant hazard to acceptable levels. This must be recorded. How the precautions are to be maintained or management of those systems, inspection of physical precautions, etc. These things should be well recorded. Then in addition to this recording, some other points like details of additional risk assessment like control of substances, etc. Then what are the different emergency protocols or procedures, the details of a person completing the risk assessment, details of a person countersigning the risk assessment. It should be well publicized, and everybody, those who are working in that arena, must aware that those persons who are responsible for this type of risk assessment. Then date, school or group location, etc. All these things, because these are the groups or schools or location, etc. may be vulnerable. So you must record all those things, that what may be within the plant location or maybe outside the plant location. Then evaluation of risk, use the risk matrix on the form, estimate the risk before you adopt any kind of control measures, because ultimately economic will involve. Then identify the control measure to lower the risk, estimate the risk after control measures, that is the residual risk. Then again you may ask a question, can you lower the risk further? Ideally all low should be, but in case if it is not, then you go ahead with the previous question being asked. Not all risk are injury. What about the financial losses? Because remember, everywhere there are the financial aspects involved in every aspect. Then you must while recording the risk assessment, you may adopt this type of a table. One part you may include the consequences, including minor injury or not apparent injury, injury required first aid, injury requiring medical treatment, or with the possible long term negative health effects, etc. So you may ask that likelihoods, will the probability not occur in most circumstances? If it is low, then definitely, and the last aspect is medium, then definitely you need to pay severe attention. Sometimes it may occur in some circumstances, minor injury may be low, the consequences may be on the medium side, then injury require the medical treatment, etc. If it is high, then you need to pay severe attention. So you must record all those things based on your knowledge and based on your requirement. Then you must go ahead with the various kind of signature, because see, the signature always authenticates the things that those who are the signing authority or those who are approving authority, they ensures that they have gone through all the protocols, etc. So all low risk, the principal investigator, obviously it is you while as an engineer. If not the competent to do so, then also the competent person who will sign it. Then the medium risk, the principal investigator and the competent persons not the same, maybe some other different person, they will sign it. Any risk like principal investigator, the competent person, then referred head of any kind of head, maybe head of the school, safety manager, or if it is related to the plant, for the formal authorization. So this is the only a legal requirement. If 5 or more employees they are working within the plant, then you need to go for this kind of risk assessment. The minimum record to include that date, hazard, maybe isotope activities, etc. The external, internal contamination, spill, personal contamination, waste disposal, lost material, etc. Sometimes you may experience, if you are passing through any plant, sometimes you may experience any off smell. Then you record this, so that the person who is in charge of that particular arena may find that what is the reason for that off smell. Then you record that personnel at risk with the name, because sometimes insurance company may require for this one. Then you go for the special risk, that is one team member is pregnant, then need to be the work between two things, the control measures, etc. So you need to identify for those person, those may have some special risk, and then you give a proper attention to those special risk involved persons. The last step says that review the assessment. Now this involves various points like management, staff or principal investigator, they will need to approve the implementation of various control measures based on the discussion. Then the monitoring of the process or activity has to be carried out to ensure that there is no residual risk or additional risk arising from the control measures. The risk assessor have to check or monitor the new implementation of control measures and to communicate with respective lab or operational person, whether if they are working in a plant. The review on the risk assessment to be carried out on the various basis. One of the basis is that at least once every 3 years based on a legislative requirement, sometimes after an accident or incident occurrence, any change in the process or activity, which we had a discussion previously. So in this particular module, we had the broad discussion about the risk assessment protocol. We have discussed about the different steps involved in detail. We have discussed about how we can develop the chart or a table for the likelihood of any incident. We have discussed about that who is the responsible person for what. Now if you wish to have a further look, then we have enlisted different references for further reading, further analysis. Thank you very much.